There is a supposed male loneliness epidemic, and to that I say many of them need to be lonelier. So I'm about to go through this Threads post, but Mika read this post and she decided to post this picture, and y'all needed to see it first. Hate, 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 double hate. Because as this lady was telling this story, this was the reaction, and I can understand. But my reaction was to say, this needs to be a video and make these dudes lonelier. Now we meet the succubus one manifesto. We'll call her the succubus for short. Now here's her story. She says, peoples, the men are not lonely enough. Off bat, I like her. She says, so let me set the tone, okay? I'm chilling out, maxing, relaxing in the local library, small joint, kind of intimate, when this guy starts chatting me up. And before you ask, yes, he was. I have seen him a few times, never thought much of him. I keep to myself. He hears me on the phone with my best friend, waits for me to get off the phone, and is like, I hope you don't mind me asking, is that your boyfriend? So I know what time he is on immediately. I peeped he thought I was cute, but I didn't want to do anything about that. He was giving married to me, but I was not interested. So we're chatting and he's like, it sounds like you're leaving. You okay? I say, yeah, I am transitioning right now. It's heavy, yada, yada. Y'all, why did he talk a little longer, then proposition us to go into the bathroom one at a time, to kiss in the stalls? He's 42, by the way. Not exactly out of my range, but I'm not attracted to him, so I lied, y'all. This next part makes me laugh. She says, I told him I play for the other team because I do have an LGBTQ water bottle. He drops his shoulders and goes, so if I was a woman, you would want me. How do you know that will do it for you? Women can't do anything for you. Bro, at this point, I'm plotting my escape, checking my phone, muttering about it getting late. Then here's where things start to get wicked. He says, I'm sorry. It's just earlier I mentioned I have kids. Well, things are rough at home. We come home from work. I try to be present, but after work, we just come home and don't. He stops himself, rewords his sentences. He says, we just fall down and then sleep. I'm a dad, then an employee, then a spouse. I know I should let my balls drop and just do something about it, like talk to them. He won't say my wife, right? He just kept referring to her with vague pronouns. He goes, we have 6 kids. So at this point, this very married man has presumably left his wife at home with their 6 kids so he can, checks notes, come to the library and try to hook up with women. This next picture she used is hilarious to me. She says, y'all, I told him I was lesbian. I am not a lesbian. People in her comments must have been giving her grief about saying that she's lesbian or something. But why she use this picture of Foxy Cleopatra? This got me good. Then J.M. Jonesy made me laugh as well, saying, this is always the first thing that comes to mind. And we see this right here. It says, death to all of them. A Little Fear says, women can't do anything for you, says the man doing nothing for his wife at that moment. This is the reason why so many of them have so much time and energy to be out and about, scavenging for women or scavenging for sex or scavenging for a hole to put their D in, because their wives are at home doing all of the things. That's the reason why they can do all of this. They have too much energy because they're not participating in the home. The succubus says absolutely nothing. He is doing nothing for his household. Why is he even there? Erica says, so he has 6 kids and thinks he doesn't get effed enough. Sounds like my ex-husband. I left his butt thinking 3 times a week after 10 years of marriage and 4 kids wasn't good enough. I've been gone for 17 years. Guess how long it's been for him getting laid now? Decades of nothing, because 3 times a week wasn't good enough. The succubus at the bottom says, glad you got out. Aries says, oh dear Lord, ma'am, I hope you charged him per hour because that's all poop he needs to unpack on his therapist. If he's going to treat you like one, he better cough up the money for your time. I'm so grossed out on your behalf right now. If you see him again and he starts in again, give him your bill for counseling for the last session. This B. Sam says, laughing my butt off, as a bi woman, I would not be above claiming to be lesbian as an emergency escape hatch. As a straight woman, I wouldn't be above it as well, especially if I have a water bottle that was an LGBTQ water bottle, because that's enough to say, look, I'm gay. I have a water bottle. And this is where we meet Mika saying, once again, hate, 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 double hate. We needed to see that again because that is hilarious. Now we have Ika saying, the woman who's known me for years and has kids with me and thus experience with me specifically won't F me. You want to go? She says, I mean, no, the reviews are in. The succubus says, negative 320. That is my rating for the whole vibe. 7, the chariot says, so if I was a woman, you'd want me. Sir, if you were a woman, you would not be asking strangers to hook up in the well-traveled library bathroom stalls in the middle of the day. And then like the person at the bottom, Bree says, at the library. She Loves Majesty says, as an actual lesbian myself, they don't even stop there. They be like, you just haven't found a real man, that's all. Or their favorite line, I can change you. At this point, I don't know what to do anymore. And then the succubus, she just retches. This person, Nicole, at the bottom says, you know what? I bet if he helped more with those 6 kids, his wife would have energy for more bedtime play. She also might want to avoid bedtime play because she's trying to avoid baby number 7, and he's already not that great with her and the 6 he has. And then the succubus at the bottom says, he did say he was open to another kid. No. Wizards and says, oh my God. So he wanted therapist and sympathy sex, basically. This is why I hang up, walk away, and ignore when men start talking, because they don't be saying like the way I would have. And then she gives this little video. So this person is looking at the camera first and then starts walking away. So she says, the way I would have been walking away. I'll end with Isabel. She says, the 6 kid bit alone. Dude isn't great and he has no self-control where to spill. Just messy everywhere. Just putting baby batter where it's not supposed to be. And then she gives this picture. It simply says, yuck. Yes. Another example of why these people need to be lonelier. They will have a whole family at home. They could go get some company there. They could go, hang out, chill, go to a trampoline park, do something fun with their kids, hang out with their wife or something. But no, they're out here scavenging for sex. Anyways, this was one example. And today, let's just continue the conversation of why these people need to be lonelier. One more example of why these dudes need to be lonelier. This woman posted in the Am I Overreacting subreddit. She says, my ex-boyfriend ejaculated in my bed without me knowing. Am I overreacting? Based on the title alone, you're absolutely not overreacting. Women ask these questions seeking validation for things where they're just feeling normal human emotions. Obviously, you're not overreacting because this dude is out of pocket. All right, so she's 26, he's 29. Let's look at this post. She says, hey y'all, so I dated this guy who happens to be my brother-in-law's best friend of 13 years for a few months. It didn't work out and we broke up 3 months ago, but we're cordial and friendly. He's my neighbor and we still have ties through my sister and her husband who are happily married. He's watched my dog before, usually for a few hours or until I get home at night. This past weekend, I was away to go to a convention and he offered to watch my dog for me. I live alone in an apartment. I told him he could stay over the couple of nights if it's easier, but he told me he'll just sleep at home since he's literally a 2-minute walk away. Last night, I get home, unpack, Get ready for bed. Once I got in bed, I noticed my dog was sniffing a spot. And when I looked closer, it was a discolored stain. And I smelled it to see if maybe my dog peed. And it was overwhelmingly strong and distinctly baby batter. It says come right there. I am disgusted. I brought it up to him and he apologized. He told me he'd buy me a new comforter and he didn't realize anything was there. I asked him why he'd do that and he said he was in my room trying to sleep the first night and he thought of me. I also asked him why he wouldn't just go home if he lives right next door. But he said he intentionally wanted to do it in my room because he was thinking about us and how we used to be in my bed together. He also begged me not to tell my sister or anyone. At this point, I feel kind of violated. I trusted him in my home without me to watch my dog and wasn't expecting that. I'm very taken aback and confused. I have another trip coming up at the end of the month, which he was supposed to watch my dog for, but now I don't even think that's a good idea. I don't know if I'm overreacting. Update. I asked for more detail on what exactly happened leading up to that. He said he was sitting on my PC chair and he was thinking about us being in my bedroom together, and it happened from there. He said he was trying to sleep the first night and he couldn't, so he spent the night at home. He spent the nights at home when I initially asked if he stayed any of the nights. I don't know if those were two separate instances. Okay, right here. I don't know if this is a good idea for him to watch the dogs while she's away again. Absolutely not. This man should not even be in your space. This man should not be breathing the same air as you because he has violated you, and he would have just left it at that had she not brought it up. This person is not to be trusted. These people need to be lonelier until they get some help because this is not normal human behaviors. You don't just go into someone's home and jack off to their bed. In their bed. Why would you do this? And if things just got carried away, why not wash it? Like, these are the most logical leaders, y'all. The most logical leaders. Babylon Nuith says, ew, what a pig on your comforter. And he didn't even clean it up. That's what I'm saying. Didn't even clean it up. Or just not ejaculate on your comforter to begin with. Just pay for a dog sitter or ask someone else. This guy is a perv. He's leaving his traces in your bed on purpose. You can be sure. And here's the OP saying, yeah, he apologized and said he didn't realize he had gotten anything on my comforter, then offered to buy a new one. The last he wrote to me over text was that he's struggling mentally and he's in a bad place. He told me it's too much to text and would like to talk more in person about it. I haven't responded because I don't even know what to say. Babylon Nuith says BS. He knows what he did. Men always do. And do not talk to him face to face, at least not alone, for God's sake. In a public place, for sure. He wants to talk to you about him ejaculating on your comforter. What he needs to do is buy you a new one, period. No need for any in-person discussion. You can tell him that straight out. His mental problems are his to solve. Don't fall for this sympathy-seeking ploy. Men use this BS excuse on women to justify any amount of their deranged or perverse behavior. He needs to just drop it. No need to discuss his random ejaculation. If you do talk, be sure to discreetly record the convo in case you need to prove to others it took place and that he's indeed a perv, because that is what he is. And I guarantee that if you talk to him like he wants, that particular discussion will take a turn that will make you even more uncomfortable than you already are. Oh, and Bourbon Bougie, you might want to check her out on YouTube. And so this is where she tagged me in, and I just simply said, these dudes need to be lonelier. That is a line that I have to use several times a day because I get these posts and I say WTF quite a bit. Babylon Nuith says, I sent out the burp signal and here you are. I tagged you in another post too. And I'm like, girl, my tags are chaotic because they really are. I am quite approachable. I do try to look at things, but I am tagged in so many different places. Prudent Bed said, it doesn't matter if he's struggling mentally or not, because he already knows his behavior is wrong. He's using his mental state as an excuse to manipulate you and help himself feel better. He's perfectly good with doing what he did, and he only needs your forgiveness and to explain because he feels guilty. Don't give in to this rhetoric. It's not your job to keep understanding and giving more to this person. The least he could do is clean it up and or wash it or buy a new one immediately upon realizing his mistake. He wanted you to find it. Now he's going to get off on your mental load if you decide to let this go. Oh, here's the OP again. She says, I agree. A part of me wants to hear out what he could possibly say, but I also don't want to be alone with him or let him back in my home. I also feel unsettled because I left my spare key with him to watch the dog. And when we were dating, he made 2 copies of it. He returned them once we broke up. But now that this happened, I don't even know what to think. My mind is going to the worst case scenario. What if he made a copy of my key while I was gone for the weekend? I don't even know how to feel about this. I feel a weird mix of feeling bad for him, but also violated and grossed out. Weekly Hold says, try to let go of feeling bad for him. He doesn't deserve that whatsoever, babe. Change your locks today or ASAP. I hope you can get past this once you change the locks. Also check for hidden cameras and to change your Wi-Fi and any shared passwords. And then she says, this is the OP saying, thank you. I'm pretty sure he was trying to get on my PC too. I saw in my system logs that my computer was turned on the day I was gone. After we broke up, he admitted going onto my computer and reading through my ChatGPT history where I vented about things. He apologized and I let that slide. Stop letting things slide. Stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Doubt their benefits because they have not deserved it. They have not earned it. And I'm going to leave that there. This is a hot mess. When people violate you, take that as your exit. Leave them alone. They don't deserve this thing. These people deserve to be lonelier until they get their mental health together, because these people are not that dumb. They don't act like this with their other friends or family members. They're this dumb with like people that they want to be romantic with. So stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Make them lonelier and stop letting them breathe your air. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, and share. Hey, that rhymed. #bars. I'm giving a trigger warning. This may not be safe for work. I'm giving a trigger warning because this dude slaps this woman during a sex act. Just putting that out there, that many of these dudes need to be lonelier. They don't deserve to breathe the same air as a woman. They don't deserve to like be in the same room. Okay, let's just get into the post. This woman says, what is wrong with some men? Is this what dating is like nowadays? She posted this in the 2X chromosome subreddit. She says, so I, 41-year-old woman, recently started getting back into the dating scene after being with my husband for 13 years, married for 10. I uncovered infidelity shortly after our 10th anniversary in the process of separating. I've gotten quite a few matches on dating apps, but I see so many red flags when messaging that few of them move beyond that. There was this one guy, however, that seemed different from the rest. He had emotional intelligence. He seemed supportive, and the conversation was engaging. We've been messaging for a couple of months already. We've met for a coffee a few times, and I feel like we really clicked. It was his idea to take it slow, but we would text extensively about what we liked and what turned us on and what not. We finally decided to meet up and take it to the next level. I showed up, we started making out. I started going down on him. We were both really into it. Then this MFer slaps me hard across the face with absolutely zero warning or prior conversation about it. I know this is some people's kink or whatever, but I wish he would have mentioned it beforehand, because then I would have told him not to even play slap me, because I grew up with a violent father and my instant reaction to getting hit is to hit back, which is exactly what I did. As soon as he slapped me, I immediately slapped him back and shouted, "Do not," as he stood there looking stunned. I just grabbed my stuff and stormed out, had him blocked by the time I got to my car. Who the hell thinks this is acceptable? My cheek is still red and there's a small bump. This wasn't like a little tap. This was a hard slap with force behind it. Is this what people do these days? What the actual F? Ladies, has anyone had any success getting back into dating in their 40s? I'd like to hear some positive stories, please. What is wrong with some of these dudes? Just like her title says, what is wrong with them? Where do they get this, that this is acceptable? In what world are they learning this mess from? Make these people lonelier. Do exactly what she did. She blocked him immediately. Stop talking to these people. When they act inappropriately, when they send you disgusting texts, when they send you D pics, block them. Stop talking to them. Stop engaging with them. They don't deserve our time or energy because this stuff is disgusting. All right, let's get into some of these comments. Ashiza says, I keep reading these stories and honestly, what the F is wrong with men? The men are not lonely enough. Forever a lonely fangirl says, the men are not lonely enough. I'm saving this. And then VOTP says, you've got to start watching Bourbon Bougie on YouTube. This is her catchphrase. I didn't create the phrase, though. I said these men need to be lonelier. No, I'm sorry. I say make these men lonelier. And I will continue to say that, but I'm not the only one saying that. SoCal Hermit says, good on you for slapping him back. I don't know what goes through their heads to not even discuss it first. I had an ex put his foot on the back of my neck, and that killed any desire I had to do it with him. Goody Goody says, what in the actual hell, his foot? No, not without a request or consent to do so. SoCal Hermit says, I don't know why some sexual partners think they could try out what they see on porn sites without clearing it with their partner ahead of time. It's not remotely a turn on. And Grace of the North is spot on with this because they don't see women as people, just as holes to be stuffed and degraded. Aquarius Sparkle Girl says, men are literally destroyed from corn because they're already too stupid to distinguish corn from reality. Which Alice hones in on, I don't know what goes through their head to not even discuss it first. And then she says, it's a test. In his eyes, OP failed it. The idea is to violate your physical boundaries as soon as he can, so he can know if you'll fight back or if you're easy prey. He doesn't expect to need to ask for consent. He expects full consent at all time. And I completely agree. Many of these people they don't see you, they just see you as entertainment. You're an orgasm machine or something. You're not a human being. She did come back with an update. She says, update, I took the advice of all you lovely ladies and I reported him on the app and to the police. I don't know if they removed him or he unmatched me, but I don't see his profile on the app anymore. As for the police, since there were no serious injuries and it's pretty much my word, there's not much they could do. They will go talk to him, but if he denies it, it's very unlikely he'll get arrested or charged. They'll file my report and that's about it. The OP did snap on some people that were kind of victim blaming her. So here's the OP talking to somebody whose comment got removed by the moderator saying, get that victim blaming judgmental out of here. Since effing Wind is performing oral and open invitation to not just be disrespected, but physically assaulted. I've never once thought about smacking a dude that was going down on me due to some misconceived notion that he no longer deserved respect. Men that have no respect for women to begin with will be poopy regardless of the woman's actions. And obviously she did not say the word poopy. Here she is responding to another comment that was removed by the moderators. She's like, because all sucky men wear clear signs labeling them as sucky men, right? I did walk away as soon as I discovered exactly how sucky this man was. So I never actually chose to be with a sucky man. The question should be, why are sucky men so sucky to begin with? And she's not saying the word sucky for the people that are just listening and not looking on the screen. She says, but you don't want to focus on these men and their shortcomings. You just want to find a way to make it the woman's fault. I am glad that this woman is like this. She is pushing back because people will say these things as if you know in advance that these dudes are going to behave in this manner. Why do women get so much blame for men's behaviors. And if you are a woman that does that to another woman, you need to take a step back and just imagine who is doing the thing. Someone getting something done to them is not to blame. Stop being a victim blamer. And if you get defensive at this type of pushback, then you need to look inside of yourself and your internalized misogyny and why you believe that women deserve to be blamed for men's behaviors. And this doing adult things like having sex is not a reason to be harmed physically at all. Women don't deserve to be harmed simply because they do adult stuff and have sex or do sexual things. All right, y'all, I will end that there. I just wanted y'all to see some of the updates and how she is pushing back against these victim blamers.
A viral video about men and patriarchy and about emotional labor and physical labor that is often unnoticed and unappreciated. So I wanted to read some of the comments for you. My father's fridge only had film for photography in it. I remember my best friend's mom, who was very meek usually, yelling at him about it. My husband grocery shops, but he only buys what he likes. I have to go after him to get what the kids will eat. My son's father would buy a large pizza on Friday night. My kids would eat it every meal he was there. All 6 meals that were his responsibility every 2 weeks were the same pizza. First stop when my dad picked up my brother and I was 7-Eleven for snacks and frozen dinners, and sometimes Taco Bell because all he kept in his fridge was beer. It was going well into that beer bit. My husband saw me empty the toaster and was amazed at how much fell out. He didn't realize I had been cleaning it for 28 years. Proof of this is when they move out and they live on a mattress with no furniture, even if they make money. And I wish I could show you my father's house. My husband's response was always, they'll be fine, or they'll figure it out, or they're not gonna starve. He does this with the animals he begged me to have for pets and then leaves me to make sure they are cared for as well. I'm exhausted. This woman forgot to get soap to refill the soap dispenser in the bathroom, and her husband was flabbergasted there was no soap. She was like, do you think it automatically refills itself? And he was like, I just never thought about it. I order all the paper towels, snacks, and soda for our office. I'm the only woman here. I did an experiment with the paper towel roll in the bathroom. If I didn't replace it, how long would it take for one to appear on the counter for wash hands to be dried? They are stored in a cabinet in the bathroom for easy access. The answer was 1.5 months. My mom had a stroke that completely disabled her. My dad stepped up and became her full-time caregiver and took over running the household. The result of this was he became a bitter, angry man. Not towards my mother, amazingly, but towards his daughters, because we didn't take over our mom's role and do everything for him. Mind you, we were full-grown adults with careers, households, and young children of our own who lived hours away, even in different states. This is my favorite one. So one person wrote, I have the privilege, and I do consider it a privilege, to be a 60-year-old woman working with several men in their 30s who I've been able to have deep conversations around this topic. I'm hoping to change the world one 30-year-old dude at a time. To which somebody else responded, I'm a dom and I have the same approach. So if you have other stories of patriarchy, please share them because it makes me feel like I'm not as terrible a man.